Good morning. It's Sunday morning and it's January the 29th, 2023. And it's a pleasure to be able to share some thoughts with you from Scriptures today. I'm Pastor Mike Custer, the pastor of Bible Baptist Church in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And this morning we're going to read from Psalm 4 again, this time verses 2 and 3. We talked a little bit about verse 2 yesterday morning, but we'll go ahead and touch on that again and move into verse 3. Psalm 4, verses 2 and 3. The Bible says, O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. And that first verse speaks of turning God's glory into shame. And I'm just thinking about how a person can do that. How can you turn God's glory into shame? Well, it's by misrepresenting who he is and concluding that he does things that he does not do, that he does shameful things instead of glorious things. And some people blame God for the issues that they face in life, and some people just will not accept God's determinations and God's sovereignty about some issues that they experience. One writer that I know, who's actually a pastor down in Oklahoma, stated this: whatever God allows in your life, even if it feels bad, it's good, because the purpose is to draw you closer to him. Especially if you're a saved person, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. And so to take God's glory and turn it into shame is to imagine that God does evil things, that God does bad things, when they're only good things. Actually, they're for our good and for our benefit that these things are accomplished. In the very next verse, verse 3, but know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him, and he is sensitive to our needs. And he won't necessarily always do what we would like for him to do. I've said many times that God's far more concerned about your holiness than he is about your happiness. And just the things that we imagine would make us feel better about our life, many times God will withhold. He will not answer that request because it wouldn't prove to be the best thing for us. And so be very careful not to turn God's glory into shame, and be very careful not to ask him for things that he cannot grant and will not grant because they would not be for our good. That's why it's always best to say, not my will, but thy will be done. And of course, Jesus Christ is a great example of this. And he didn't like the idea. You recall his experience in his prayer meeting in the Garden of Gethsemane. Didn't like the idea that he would go to the cross, that he would have to be separated from his Father, that he would bear the sins of the whole world upon himself. But he said, Father, you know what's best. Help me to accept this and realize this is for ultimate good. And so be careful, don't turn God's glory into shame by imagining or by proclaiming that he does evil. God never does evil. It's always good that he does. And certainly we should honor and glorify him with our life. God bless you today.